It is not uncommon for aircraft carriers to be mentioned in the news or defense-related content. They are, after all, the core of large naval strike groups which have the ability to operate at sea for long periods of time and provide the capability to strike adversaries far away from the homeland. They are seen as the ultimate display of naval power, and as such it is often asked, why doesn't the Pakistan Navy operate one? This is the question on many people's minds and something that I will answer today. I'm your host Blitz Falcon and welcome to Pakistan Strategic Forum. Now before I begin, some context needs to be set. Aircraft carriers are offensive-oriented naval vessels. They are meant to facilitate an operational airbase for various kinds of aircraft to be used far away from the homeland. Now don't get me wrong, aircraft carriers are also useful for defensive purposes, especially for nations with large coastlines such as the United States, which faces the Pacific and North Atlantic Ocean, the United Kingdom, which is essentially an island nation, and China as an example. Now when it comes to Pakistan, it has a coastline of only around 1,146 kilometers, which is easier to defend against a naval-based invasion when compared to nations with larger coastlines. Meanwhile, Pakistan's main adversary India is right next to it geographically speaking, which means it's in strike range of land-launched Pakistani warplanes and missiles. Furthermore, Pakistan's foreign policy is against the concept of direct military aggression against a weaker state for the purpose of securing national interest. Now this is where an aircraft carrier will be useful. Hence, keeping it simple, Pakistan simply has no incentive or need to invest in an aircraft carrier as things stand today. Now, if you are satisfied with this brief reasoning, then you can leave now. However, I'm just getting started. We can divide this vast topic into three multiple segments. Number 1, needs. Number 2, risks. Number 3, naval doctrine. As mentioned earlier, Pakistan does not have a large coastline for which aircraft carriers can present any operational use in defensive role. It is an offensive-based asset whose usage is needed for overseas military operations, something Pakistan is simply not involved with. Pakistan's main adversary India is also right next to it, which mitigates any real need for an aircraft carrier. Pakistan has the capability to strike Indian assets using land-based air bases and every part of that country via usage of its missiles arsenal. Overall, there is no real use for an aircraft carrier for Pakistan. Aircraft carriers are expensive. They're expensive to build and operate. They require thousands of servicemen to be operational at full capacity and require separate purchase of aircraft to be used on them alongside the deployment of more surface vessels for their protection. In the case one is lost, it would be a massive irreplaceable loss for the nation in terms of invested expense, trained servicemen, and overall morale loss. Such a loss will devastate a nation, and this risk is starting to slowly outweigh the benefits aircraft carriers provide, even to nations such as the United States. Pakistan's naval doctrine is based on strategic defense and designed to counter any naval threats Pakistan may face in the future. The key point to note here is the lack of any open offensive need. As such, the need of offensive-oriented naval aircraft carriers is also non-existent. Pakistan is more focused on strategic needs, which includes induction of submarines, corvettes, and frigates, which collectively form a strong defensive layer, further reinforced by land-based anti-ship missile weaponry. If funds are transferred towards acquiring an aircraft carrier, which needs a lot of funding, time, and experience, Pakistan will miss out on its other purchases, causing complications to arise with the defensive layer not being complete. It is important to remember that these platforms are expensive not only to buy but also to operate. For context, an American carrier will consume around $2.5 million just to operate for a day. Hence, even if Pakistan does build a carrier, its operational cost alone will divert funds away from future projects, causing monetary issues for the Navy. I hope I have given a satisfactory answer as to why Pakistan Navy does not operate aircraft carriers. and doesn't plan to in the near future. Well, at least until the geopolitical situation remains the same. As an extra piece of information, I also want to point out why aircraft carriers, at least in their current form, are starting to become obsolete for conventional naval warfare. Now, the last time carriers actually faced a capable conventional foe was in World War II, where American and Japanese navies clashed in the Pacific theater. Ever since then, carriers have seen operational use against nations with no real naval capability such as North Korea, Syria, and Iraq. At the same time, anti-ship missile technology and submarines have advanced greatly in technological capability, which are a major threat for all aircraft carriers. It has occurred many times in war games where a submarine managed to sneak past a carrier strike group defenses and simulate sinking that carrier. For example, in 2005, a Swedish submarine was able to successfully ambush a US carrier. In another instance, in 2013, a US Los Angeles attack submarine got close into strike range against a British illustrious carrier. These events highlight how vulnerable carriers can be to submarines despite advancement in submarine detection technology. On the other hand, anti-ship missiles present a whole new level of threat with the development of beyond subsonic speed anti-ship cruise missiles. Even subsonic missiles pose a massive threat in the case of saturation attacks, something that can now even be afforded by nations with a small navy. On the other hand, aircraft and airborne refueling platforms have also advanced to a point that fighter jets and bombers can achieve extraordinary strike ranges, further diminishing the need for carriers. Overall, the risk of owning a carrier are getting higher while rewards are getting lower, making carriers in their current form obsolete in the near future. These points should be enough to highlight the needlessness and uselessness of aircraft carriers for Pakistan. Hence, this is where I'll end the discussion for today. Any more questions you have, I will gladly answer in the comment section. So for now, if you liked the video, leave a like, comment and subscribe. This is Blitz Falcon signing off.